Sarah's world shattered in 5 devastating minutes, sitting at her kitchen table as her husband of 1 year delivered the most catastrophic betrayal imaginable. At 27, she had built her dream life. A successful honeymoon planning business, financial independence, and what she thought was an honest marriage with Marcus, a 33-year-old nurse. She was proudly child-free, even sterilized to ensure no accidents, and had been transparent about this from day one. The house felt suffocating as Marcus fidgeted with his coffee cup, his eyes unable to meet hers. "I haven't been completely honest with you," he began, the words hitting her like physical blows. Sarah's stomach dropped, bracing for infidelity or debt, but nothing could have prepared her for what came next. "I have 2 children, a 10-year-old son and 7-year-old daughter." The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah stared at this stranger wearing her husband's face, feeling like she was drowning. 2 children, an entire decade of his life, 2 human beings he'd created, hidden from her completely. The man she'd pledged her life to had built their entire relationship on a foundation of lies. But Marcus wasn't finished destroying her world. "I pay child support, but it's cutting into my fun money," he continued, his tone casual as if discussing the weather. "I want to have fun like you do, so I'm going to fight for 50-50 custody." Sarah's mind reeled. This wasn't about reconnecting with his children or being a better father. This was about money. About using her as free childcare so he could have more cash for his fun. The callousness was breathtaking. "I work 12 to 16-hour shifts," Marcus explained, completely oblivious to her horror. "You just need to watch them when you're not working or when you're working from home. It won't be that hard." The audacity was staggering. Sarah traveled constantly for her business, worked from her inherited house, and had crafted a child-free life by design. Now her husband expected her to abandon everything she'd worked for to become an unpaid nanny for children he'd hidden from her for over a year. "If you fight for custody, I will leave you," Sarah said, her voice eerily calm despite the hurricane of rage inside her. The prenup she'd insisted on suddenly felt like divine intervention. She'd keep her business, her savings, and her grandmother's house. Everything that truly mattered. Marcus's reaction revealed his true character. Instead of remorse for his deception, instead of understanding her position, he exploded with entitlement. "You're an asshole," he screamed, spit flying from his lips. "You should step up so I can have more money. The kids won't be much hassle because of their ages." Sarah stared at this man she thought she knew, seeing him clearly for the first time. He'd married her under false pretenses, planned to use her as free childcare, and now had the nerve to call her selfish for refusing to participate in his scheme. The manipulation was textbook. He'd waited until she was legally bound to him before revealing his secret, assuming she'd be trapped. But Sarah wasn't trapped. She was sterilized by choice, financially independent by design, and protected by a prenup he'd probably forgotten about. The house around them, her grandmother's legacy, would remain hers. Her business would continue thriving. Her child-free life would resume, just without the lying husband. The next few days were a whirlwind of legal consultations and harsh realities. Sarah learned about annulment laws, about fraudulent marriage, about how completely Marcus had underestimated her resolve. He'd gambled on her love overriding her boundaries and lost spectacularly. When Marcus finally vacated her house, tail between his legs, Sarah felt nothing but relief. The man who'd called her an asshole for refusing to raise his secret children was now scrambling to explain to his family why his marriage had imploded so quickly. Sarah's lawyer smiled as they discussed the annulment papers. "Fraudulent marriage," she explained. "He married you under completely false pretenses. This protects you completely." Standing in her grandmother's kitchen, looking out at the garden she'd tended alone, Sarah felt the weight of betrayal lifting. She'd trusted the wrong person, but she'd protected herself legally and financially. Her business would continue flourishing. Her travels would resume without guilt. Her child-free life would remain exactly as she'd designed it. The 10-year-old boy and 7-year-old girl would never know how close they'd come to having a stepmother who wanted nothing to do with them. Marcus would return to paying child support from his fun money, hopefully learning that some lies are too big to overcome. Sarah deleted Marcus from her emergency contacts, changed the locks, and started planning her next adventure. Some people called her heartless for refusing to help with his children. She called it honest. Have you ever discovered your partner had been hiding something life-changing from you? How do you handle someone trying to manipulate you into a life you never chose? Share your thoughts on boundaries, honesty, and the courage to walk away.